Welcome to the decumulation engine. For 30 or 40 years, you were taught one job: accumulate, save, invest, grow the pile. But the day you retire, the game inverts completely, and almost no one is taught the second game. Decumulation, the art and science of turning a portfolio into a paycheck that lasts as long as you do, is not accumulation in reverse. It's a different discipline, with different math, different risks, and different tools. In this framework, we treat retirement income as an engineered system, a machine built to balance four competing forces that constantly pull against each other. Lifestyle, the income you actually want to live on. Longevity, the risk of outliving your money. Legacy, what you intend to leave behind. And liquidity, the freedom to access your capital. Optimize any one of these in isolation, and you quietly starve the other three. Over the next several slides, we'll engineer a system that holds all four in balance.
Every retirement plan rests on one number. How long does the money need to last? And here's the problem. The number most people use is wrong. The average US life expectancy of about 79 years describes the entire population, including those in poor health. But you are not the average. Watch the funnel narrow. A healthy 65-year-old male averages roughly 17 and a half more years. A healthy female, 21. And for an affluent, healthy couple, the oldest survivor averages nearly 25 years past retirement. There is a 50% probability that at least one spouse lives to age 92. Yet only about 6% of American adults possess functional longevity literacy, a realistic grasp of their own life expectancy. The consequence is stark. Planning for a static 20-year retirement essentially guarantees the financial failure of roughly half of all retiring households. Longevity isn't a footnote to the plan. It is the central risk we have to engineer around.
So if we can't plan for a fixed 20 years, can we at least trust the famous 4% rule? Unfortunately, no, and for three structural reasons. First, geographic return divergence. The 4% rule was reverse engineered from 20th century US market data, which was historically exceptional. Apply that same rule across 18 other developed markets, and the sustainable rate for a 50-50 portfolio drops to about 2.8%. Second, path dependency and memory. Two identical retirees retiring just a year apart can be assigned wildly different sustainable withdrawals based purely on the luck of their start date. The rule never adapts to real-time market values. Third, the static spending fallacy. Real-world retiree spending does not rise smoothly with inflation. It declines, historically about 19% by age 75, 34% by 85, and more than half by 95. A rigid fixed rule ignores all three of these realities at once. We need something dynamic.
Before we touch a single product, we have to map the human being, because mathematics alone does not drive retirement success. Psychology does. The Retirement Income Style Awareness Framework plots retirees on two axes. The vertical axis runs from commitment to optionality, how much you value locking in a guarantee versus keeping your options open. The horizontal axis runs from safety first to probability based, whether you sleep better with contractual certainty or with market-driven growth. Together, they produce four quadrants. Income protection types prefer contract-backed floors, like annuities. Total return types prefer systematic withdrawals and rely on market risk premiums, usually equities. Time segmentation types favor bucket strategies and short-term cash reserves. And commitment probability types rely on structured investment strategies to hit their milestones. Here is the rule that matters most. A decumulation strategy will fail if it violates the retiree's psychological quadrant, no matter how mathematically efficient it looks on paper.
The optimal plan is the one the client can actually hold on to through a downturn.
Now to one of the most counterintuitive ideas in all of retirement planning, the liquidity paradox. Picture a retiree with a large, all-equity portfolio. On a spreadsheet, that looks like maximum liquidity. But in practice, it's fettered, trapped in a cage. Because the entire balance is mentally earmarked for essential lifetime spending, and because the retiree lives in fear of a bad sequence of returns, that money becomes psychologically unavailable. They won't spend it on a legacy gift, and they can't deploy it aggressively. Now, contrast that with a smaller, free-floating equity portfolio paired with an actuarial bond, an annuity floor that covers the essentials. Here is the contrarian insight. By transferring core longevity risk to an insurance company, you convert fettered portfolio liquidity into unfettered liquidity. Counterintuitively, giving up access to a portion of your capital grants you the psychological freedom to actually spend or aggressively invest everything that remains. Less liquidity on paper can produce far more usable liquidity in real life. With the psychology mapped, let's start building the engine, beginning with Component 1, Dynamic Spending Guardrails. Instead of a fixed withdrawal, we set an initial rate, here a more aggressive 5.2%, and then we let it flex inside a set of guardrails. We establish an upper warning line at plus 20% and a lower warning line at minus 20% of the target. If the portfolio surges and crosses the upper rail, the retiree triggers a 10% spending raise. If it falls and breaks the lower rail, they take a 10% spending cut. This is the Guyton-Klinger approach, and that built-in flexibility is exactly what permits the higher starting income. One critical logic gate: if the retiree is in the final 15 years of retirement, we scrap the downward cutbacks entirely. Why? Because sequence of returns risk is heavily front-loaded. Once you've survived the early danger zone, the rationale for cutting spending late in life largely disappears.
Let's put the withdrawal strategies side by side, modeled on a 40-60 portfolio over 30 years. Notice the trade-offs between starting income, legacy, and cash flow volatility. You simply cannot maximize all three at once. A fixed real baseline supports only 3.7 to 3.8%. It leaves a high legacy with zero volatility, but at the real cost of chronic underspending. Foregoing inflation adjustments lifts you to about 4.3%, but permanently lowers your spending power after a down market. Matching the natural historical decline in spending gets you to roughly 4.5%. The RMD method pushes income to 4.7%, but passes all market volatility straight through to your cash flow and leaves the lowest legacy. And the Guyton-Klinger guardrail approach, highlighted here, delivers the highest initial income, 5.2 to 5.3%, with a moderate legacy. The price of that raise is spending flexibility. There is no free lunch in decumulation. There is only the trade-off that best fits the individual retiree.
Component 2 is the foundation of the entire structure, what we call the sovereign floor, the strategic claiming of Social Security. Look at the claiming staircase. Claim early at 62, and you lock in just 70% of your primary insurance amount permanently. Wait until your full retirement age of 67, and you receive 100%. Delay to 70, and you maximize at 124%. Now a contrarian insight on that famous 8%. The 8% delayed retirement credit is a benefit step-up. It is not a guaranteed investment return. Measured honestly, the true real internal rate of return is about 3.3% if you live to 84, rising to 5.3% by 90. But here is the real power. To replicate the inflation-adjusted, survivor-protected cash flows of a delayed claim for a spouse who lives to 90, a portfolio would need an unrealistic nominal return exceeding 10%. Delayed Social Security is the cheapest, highest quality longevity insurance available, and it anchors everything else we build.
Component 3 introduces a concept most investors have never heard of: mortality credits, through what we'll call actuarial bonds. Here's the mechanism.
A pool of retirees contributes to a shared risk pool. Some, sadly, pass away earlier than expected. The capital they no longer need is redistributed to the surviving pool. Those redistributed dollars are mortality credits, a source of return that exists nowhere else in finance. Traditional bonds simply lack them. So when you replace a portion of your fixed income allocation with a lifetime income annuity, you capture these subsidies from the pool, effectively creating a supercharged bond, one that can deliver income a conventional bond ladder mathematically cannot match, precisely because it pays out the credits of those who did not survive. And there is a second powerful benefit. Because this actuarial bond reliably covers essential income, the portfolio impact is profound. The remaining unfettered equity portfolio can now be invested far more aggressively, free to capture the full market risk premium.
Of course, annuity is not one product. It is an entire ecosystem, and choosing the wrong one is a costly mistake. Let's diagnose the major instruments across 4 dimensions: liquidity, market upside, mortality efficiency, and fees. A SPIA, the immediate income annuity, offers 0 liquidity and no market upside, but maximum mortality efficiency, with fees built quietly into the pricing. A DIA, the deferred version, behaves the same and provides a cheap, late-life income floor. A QLAC is essentially a DIA inside a qualified account that also defers required minimum distribution taxes. Then the rider-based products. A fixed index annuity with a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit offers liquidity with surrender terms and capped upside at moderate mortality efficiency, with explicit fees around 0.75% to 1.25%. A variable annuity with the same rider offers full liquidity and uncapped fund upside, but stacks the highest fees of all: mortality, fund, and rider combined. The lesson is simple. Match the instrument precisely to the specific job it must do.
Because guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit riders are so widely sold and so widely misunderstood, this mechanism deserves its own slide. A GLWB tracks 2 completely separate values at the same time. The first is the account value, your actual real cash, fully subject to market swings, and the amount you could walk away with today. The second is the benefit base, an artificial calculation value used only to compute your income. Watch how they diverge. The benefit base grows in one of 2 ways, either a guaranteed simple interest roll-up, often around 5%, or it ratchets upward to lock in market gains, and critically, it completely ignores market drops. Your lifetime annual income is then calculated strictly from that protected benefit base. The result? Your income can grow or hold steady even if your actual account value falls all the way to 0. And here is the essential caution for every client. The benefit base is not money you can withdraw as a lump sum. It is an income calculation figure, not a cash balance.
Component 4 is the system's shock absorber, the standby volatility buffer, and it comes from a tool with a terrible reputation that modern research has completely rehabilitated: the reverse mortgage, used strategically as a line of credit. Consider the Dana Point example in this synchronized timeline. In the top panel, the market suffers an early downturn. The conventional retiree keeps selling equities into that decline, locking in losses at the worst possible moment. Instead, we halt systematic withdrawals entirely. In the bottom panel sits the buffer, a HECM line of credit. We draw on it tax-free to fill the income gap while the portfolio recovers, untouched. And here is the engineering that makes it work. The HECM line of credit is guaranteed by the FHA to compound and grow independently of future property values. In this example, from $300,000 toward $1 million at 7.5%. Used strictly as a standby buffer, never as a first resort, it neutralizes sequence of returns risk on the equity portfolio.
No engine is complete without protection against the single largest wildcard in retirement, a long-term care event that can consume an entire portfolio. Let's compare 3 funding approaches. Traditional long-term care insurance offers high leverage on your premium dollar, but its costs are unpredictable, rate hikes are common, and it carries the dreaded use it or lose it risk. If you never need care, those premiums are simply gone. A hybrid life and LTC policy offers guaranteed paid-up costs and eliminates that risk entirely. If you never need care, it simply pays a tax-free death benefit to your heirs at moderate leverage. Self-insurance carries zero leverage. It is a dollar-for-dollar drag, and the real cost is the opportunity cost of capital trapped in reserve. And here is the strategic note. Obsolete or underperforming permanent life insurance can be repurposed through a tax-free Section 1035 exchange into a hybrid life and LTC policy, converting lazy, idle cash value into immediate, leveraged protection.
Now we assemble every component into one integrated decision engine, and it runs on a simple, repeatable annual logic. Start with your annual income requirement. From it, subtract the guaranteed sovereign floor, your delayed Social Security, plus your actuarial bonds, the annuity income. What remains is the gap the portfolio must cover that year. Now the engine asks a single question. Is the remaining equity market up or down? If the market is up, you take a dynamic portfolio withdrawal, subject to the Guyton-Klinger upward guardrails. If the market is down, you halt equity withdrawals entirely and activate the volatility buffer, drawing tax-free from the compounding HECM line of credit, which protects the portfolio from a forced sale at the bottom. And running beneath all of it is an emergency override. A catastrophic health shock triggers the hybrid LTC policy, which shields the primary engine from being drained. Each component covers one specific risk, and together they function as a single coordinated system, not a pile of disconnected products.
Finally, every engine operates within fixed boundaries, and these are the 2026 statutory parameters that calibrate the entire system. Under Secure Act 2.0, there is a super catch-up contribution, an $11,250 limit for ages 60 through 63 in 401k and 403b plans. A high earner mandate now requires those catch-up contributions to be Roth if your prior year wages exceeded $150,000. And the QLAC premium exclusion has risen to $210,000, with the old 25% account limit repealed entirely. On the IRS and cost of living front, qualified charitable distribution limits have risen to $111,000, enabling highly efficient charitable offloading of required minimum distributions. And the RMD horizon now begins at age 73, pushing to 75 by 2033. These statutory parameters define the exact structural boundaries within which the decumulation engine must be calibrated. One closing note: everything presented here is an educational framework, not individualized advice. Every real plan should be engineered with a qualified professional around your own specific numbers.
To engineer this framework around your own numbers, connect with Darren Weidower at Ecos Insurance Solutions.